Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Patrick Show for the week of January 29th. I'm just going to take this episode and talk primarily about some of the stuff that the Trump administration has been doing this past week that are going to have some pretty significant consequences. Let's start with his Supreme Court nominee, Neil Gorsuch. Um, this isn't the worst thing in the world. Trump made a big hoop-de-doo about it, and he basically is nominated for the Supreme Court a carbon copy of Justice Scalia. If we remember, Justice Scalia died last year, and Neil Gorsuch is his replacement on the federal Supreme Court. He's actually pretty good. If you look at, unlike all of the rest of Trump's picks for his administration, for roles in his administration, Neil Gorsuch is actually probably the first one that's actually qualified for his position. So good job, Mr. President, on that one. Finally picking someone who actually knows what they're doing. Um, he's so one of the things that made Scalia um, an interesting person on the Supreme Court was the way that he interpreted the law. Aside from also being a conservative, which Gorsuch is as well, they both are of the originalist mentality, ideology, that how they interpret the laws. Basically, they try to interpret laws within the context of when and how they were originally put in. So when trying to interpret the Constitution, they jump back to the 1700s and 1800s to try and look through that lens and how they interpret laws. Um, which, so he's basically picking, choosing to maintain the status quo with a pretty stand-up guy he's been a clerk for several other judges uh, and several Supreme Court justices, and Trump has decided to preserve the status quo, which is nothing wrong with that. Um, and yeah, he's not Garland, Obama's pick for Supreme Court, but I think all in all, there's worse people he could have picked than Gorsuch, and I'm glad that he did pick Gorsuch and not one of these other people. Um, and if you really think about it, Gorsuch is probably the best option that he could have had. If he picked Garland, well, Trump never would have even considered Garland because Obama, everyone that supports Trump believes that everything Obama does is shit. And so by choosing Garland, that'd be supporting something that Obama supported, and that would lose him so much support. Uh, and I think just by choosing to maintain uh, the status quo, you're also preventing a lot of extra bitching and moaning from happening. Because if you pick someone far to the left or far to the right, you get all this crazy, oh wow, you didn't pick this, they're not going to do that, and all this other extra bullshit. People bitch and moan enough about the federal judicial system. You don't really need to add extra shit for them to complain about. So, with that mentality, I do believe that Gorsuch is a pretty good pick, and I really do commend Trump for picking Neil Gorsuch. As much as Garland probably would have been a little better for my political ideologies, but I do think that Gorsuch is a very amenable person to have picked. He also named his Secretary of State this past week, which I'm not okay with. He named Rex Tillerson as the Secretary of State, adding again to the list of people that are grossly unqualified for the position that they've been tapped for. Rex Tillerson has years of experience as under his belt as the CEO of ExxonMobil, the gas company, but the only political experience he has is maybe through campaign contributions, but that's really it. He doesn't know the damn first thing about politics. Shit, I probably know more about politics than he does, as far as actual experience. Um, on that note, I really don't envy his position. I almost feel sorry for him because he's gonna have to spend the next 4 years or until he quits, running around and trying to clean up all of Trump's foreign policy shitstorms. To be fair, you sleep in the bed you make. He did accept this position. But on the other hand, I don't think he quite understands the ass whooping that's coming to him from all of the other shit that Trump's gonna start. Like we already heard, he had an angry phone call with Mexican President Nieto, and apparently, there's some other shit with that. And oh gosh, over this weekend, Bill O'Reilly said that Putin's a killer and he's not taking back his words, and so that's going to cause issues with Russia. So I really don't envy Rex Tillerson in this position. I wish that someone else more qualified would have had this position, but I mean, in the end, Trump will pick who he picks, and you just kind of have to feel sorry for these people sometimes. But again, I I wish the best of luck to Mr. Tillerson, and because he's gonna need it, because goddamn, he's gonna be shoveling shit for the next 4 years. So good luck to you. And finally, let's look at this week in the United States of Trump. So at a breakfast thing that he did earlier in the week, he pledged to repeal the Johnson Amendment, which prohibits tax exempt groups from getting into politics. Um, Not up to, but including churches and other nonprofits like that, which I don't agree with. I really hope that he's just said that to make somebody happy and to just further his own means, and he didn't say it because he meant it. Because we're already seeing like he's pulling back on a bunch of shit that he just said to get elected. The Republicans are already turning tail on getting rid of Obamacare, which I find funny to see every day. Um, but so I hope he just said that. I really do, because the last thing we need are more lobbyists and more groups that are trying to use their massive funds to swing their way around. Because there's going to be some big old mega church with millions of dollars to throw around, and one of their leaders is going to try his hand at politics, and we're going to get mega church lobby groups, and that's not going to be okay. In general, like, yeah, the lobbyism broken, bureaucracy broken. Don't need more of it. And if he actually repeals the Johnson Amendment, we're gonna get a lot more of it, and that's not gonna be okay. That's not gonna help the functionality of our government. So I hope, fingers crossed, he was just talking big and isn't gonna actually do anything about it. But again, with Trump, who the fuck knows? We're just gonna have to find out. Also, another thing that he did in relation to that travel ban. Remember that happened? Good times. So, Attorney General Sally Yates said that and she did direct Justice Department lawyers to not defend the ban. At which point, she was immediately fired by Trump. An interim Attorney General was put into place and will be in that position until Jeff Sessions is confirmed by the Senate as new Attorney General. Holy shit, there's so many issues with that. I wish I didn't have to say that, but that sets a dangerous precedent, because Trump has now set down and proven that if you don't agree with him, you will be fired. And there's a precedent for that. And that's not good, because now well, first of all, he's shown a willingness to shove out of the way anyone that disagrees with him. And that's an issue. Because disagreement is how seeing alternate opinions is how you get things done. It's how you make well-rounded legislation, how you account for everybody, and how you make things that everyone's happy with by accounting for all sides. So by removing disagreement, you remove, a whole facet of an argument, a whole half of an argument, and that's dangerous. Especially when you're talking with public policy and politicians, it's very dangerous. But he's on the backswing from that. He's also proven that while removing dissent, he's going to insert it with some yes men. And surrounding yourself with yes men is a huge mistake. That's how you walk into traps. That's how you walk into things that will absolutely destroy you. And he's already got enough yes men and people beholden to him in his cabinet, and people that are underqualified. And there's more qualified people leaving his administration every day. For him to remove Sally Yates and replace her with Jeff Sessions in that way was a mistake. he could have waited like 3 or 4 days for this whole thing to blow over. Well, for it to mostly get out of the front pages, and then fire her to replace her immediately with Jeff Sessions. But like, just situationally, it looks bad. It really, well, at least from my perspective, it looks bad on him. And I think there's a better approach he could have done to that. If you like, I don't know if he was planning on firing Sally Yates the whole time anyway, and this was just like convenient timing. But it just doesn't look good. And I hope that we don't continue to see him just firing with a people with abandon. I mean, I know that's his tagline and everything, but I hope we just don't see him pulling that on everyone that says no to him, and on everyone that says any has any kind of dissenting opinion, because that flies in the face of democracy. That flies in the face of public opinion and intelligent legislation. Like, the, it's not going to be good if he keeps doing that and just replace has an administration of yes men. Because nothing good happens when you're surrounded by yes men. Remember that, kids. Well, that's it for for this rant on the Trump administration. Um, Again, if you want if any further reading about anything that I've talked about in this episode, you can check the description below. If you have anything that crosses your desk and you want me to talk about it, feel free to say something in the comments, and I will be sure to take a look. Um, Tell all your friends, and I will see you next week.